Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the Business Mind Show. This is Chris. I'm Christopher Shaw, your host and founder of Meek Mind Digital Branding Agency. We have a great show for you today. Once again, we have my good friend Teng Tip, and he's here to tell you about his entrepreneurial journey, how he became an entrepreneur, and what it takes to really serve people in his area. So, kind of tell us about. Introduce yourself. Tell us about who you are, and why are you here today?
Chris, first of all, I thank you so much for having me here on your show. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Yes, my name is Teng Tip, and I'm originally from Cambodia, a beautiful place called Cambodia. And I've been here for about 36 years now.
Oh, wow.
And I came here as a refugee. With 2 pens and 2 shirts and 5 English books and very limited English, Chris. And the reason I came here is not because my country is too beautiful for me. I came here because, there's a saying in English that there's no place like home. But if home has always been on fire, then you need to get the heck out of there as soon as you can. And that's what I made my decision. And basically, I escaped 4 things, Chris. Number 1 is, at the time, was communist. Number 2 is persecution. 3 is ignorance. And 4 is poverty. So, that is what drive me out of the country.
Oh, wow. Wow. Man, that's a far stretch story from what I came from,
Yes.
So, I applaud you for, having the guts to, kind of stand up to that and getting out of there. Wow. And so you came from poverty-stricken, communist country and over here to become an entrepreneur. How did you transition to that? If you came over here for so little, how did you grow that entrepreneur spirit? What was that journey like?
Chris, there's like they said, there's no pain, no gain.
I agree.
So for me, back to who I am and what kind of family I'm coming from, I was born in the early '60s to a family of 5 children. My father was a lawyer. My mother was a housemaker. But then, we live in a very harmony society, and it's a pretty good life. But something happened to us in 1975, and that is when the communists took over the country. And everything, it certainly changed, Chris. And when I said everything changed is when they took over the country in April 1975, they basically kicked out all the people from the city by gunpoint.
Oh, wow.
They shut down all the school system, the religion system. You're not allowed to worship any gods or any go to school or whatever, but everybody was get kicked out of the city and go to the countryside and live as a peasant.
Why did they do that? Just rule?
It's basically something that's unforeseeable in human history, and to me, we got out, and I was too young to understand at the time. So what I did was, the life kept getting tougher and tougher from the regular attorney or the neighborhood life to the peasant life, and it's not something very new for me and my family. And we face a lot of things, Chris. We face a lot of persecution. We face a lot of tough time. So as a boy, I asked my father, I said, Father, when are we going back home? Because this is far away from home. So my dad looked at me and he said, son, I'm sure it's going to be a short time. You just hang on, and hopefully next year. And next year came. It getting even tougher. The starvation start to kick in, the persecution, the killing start to kick in. So then I asked my father again. I said, Dad, you told me we were going home, but now it's getting worse and worse. What's next? He said, just hang on, everything will be all right. But in 1977, my mother got really sick and starvation. and get sick, and she passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 days later, after my mother passed away, my dad drowned, and he also passed away.
Hey.
So for me, I was 14 years old at the time, Chris, and this is when life really go upside down for me. And when they pass away, I feel so empty. I feel so hopeless.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to live. I don't know how to live, but I just one day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when they're gonna kill me or what's gonna happen after my parents pass away, but I managed to just kind of live along the society. But fortunately, Chris, after my parents passed away, I was 14, 15 years old, and I was assigned to herd the cow. And when I say herd the cow, I herd about 100 cows. And so I slept in the forest, basically.
Oh, wow.
And then we herd the cow. But fortunately, in 1979, the Vietnamese people, the soldier came, and they kicked out that communists, which is called the Khmer Rouge. And thank God for that. And because without the Vietnamese, I know that I'm not here today talking to you. So anyway, when the Vietnamese came, everybody got so excited, and we began to have hope again. And for me, I'm a city boy, and I like city life. So I really escaped from the communists of the Khmer Rouge and coming back to the city where I was born. But when I come back, Chris, it's not the same. I came to my neighborhood and I couldn't even recognize where my house was. I know that is the neighborhood, but things just kind of changed. Everything was kind of destroyed, and my family, my father is no longer around. My parents no longer around. So the living classes that we were in before the communists has changed. So what happened was I tried to do the best that I can with no education. I found myself to be a taxi driver.
Oh, wow.
And when I say taxi driver, it's not a vehicle taxi driver, Chris. It's the bicycle taxi driver.
Oh, with a basket on the back?
Well, you put like a little bags, and then you wrap it up. Cloth bag, you wrap it up so people know that you're a bicycle taxi driver. So I've been doing it, and it's a really tough life, because I barely support my living. Actually, I just not earn enough food to eat. So I keep thinking, but there's really nothing coming up at a time. So a few years later, I lived with my brother at the time because I was not able to live by myself. And a few years later, I keep getting conflict with my sister-in-law, and she didn't like what I do. She, whatever it is, she just don't like it. So my other sister thought that I was 18 now, and she thought that I ought to get a wife and start my own family, because I should not be living with someone else. And then I go, what wife? I mean, I can't even support, or I can't even feed myself. And now for me to have a wife, how am I going to support my wife? What if I got kids? How am I going to live? And I keep thinking. And I said, you know what? That's when I make my decision. I said, you know what? I got to get out from these people. I got to go. So I took a big risk, Chris. And when I say risk, I don't mean $100 membership with WFG. When I say risk, I actually risk my life. When I say risk, I mean jungle. I mean landmines. I mean bullets that I have to cross from Cambodia to Thailand. So I took that risk, and I told myself that if I'm lucky, if the Lord bless me, then if I'm survived, I might end up in a country where my life's gonna be better than my life in Cambodia, because I just can't stand it no more. I gotta go. So that's one of the reasons why I decided to go ahead and escape Cambodia, Chris.
Oh wow, that's a that is a interesting story. That is a real. Y'all listening to this? This is a real deep story.
Yes.
And remember, all this is leading into entrepreneurship in America. So, I mean, that's deep. I've never heard you. We've talked before, but I've never heard you, tell it in such detail like that. It really paints a story about what I had to go through to get to entrepreneurship, and it was nothing like that. So, any type of troubles or any type of insecurities that I had, man, you just crushed them. And I appreciate you that, because that's the type of stuff as an entrepreneur, we need to hear different stories. We need to be talking to different people.
Yes, sir.
Because you had to go through that and you still came over here and, to live your dream. So how did you get to America, and how did you start with your helping people with financial services?
Chris, let me just go back a little bit when I escaped from Cambodia.
Okay.
They shut down the school, the communists shut down the religion, the school and everything. So I basically illiterate. I mean, I just zero English. And 4 years of education before the communism, I forgot a lot of stuff that has been taught in the elementary school. So when I get out from Cambodia, I went to a refugee camp. Here's what I saw. I saw the white people, Caucasian, riding a car and helping people. So I look at them, I say, wow, what if I can speak English? Maybe at least I can become a translator. That was one of my first dreams. So what I did was, I didn't know what to do. I mean, I didn't speak the language, so one day I keep walking back and forth. In the cabin there was the government, I mean not the government, the UNHCR let me live there. And I keep walking back and forth thinking, and one lady asked me, honey, why are you walking back and forth? And I told her that I'm thinking. She said, thinking of what? Because you've been walking back and forth for a while. I said, I'm thinking of a way so that I can get like some sort of English book so I can start studying English. So the lady said, oh, okay, so I tell you what, I've got a old book. It's called Essential English Book One. And I don't even use because, I'm getting too old to learn English anyway, so why don't I just give it to you? I say, oh wow, that's great, thank you so much. So that's how I start my English.
Oh wow.
To get that book, Chris, there's in the refugee camp, they open a private class, English lesson, but you have to pay. But for me, I didn't have money to pay. So what I did was I go over there. I was hungry enough for education. I went over there with a whole bunch of other people also that didn't have any money. We sat outside the classroom, and we watched the teacher teach inside the classroom through the window. And I could not, I see what he's writing, so I just copy whatever he write, but I was not allowed to make any noise or to disturb the people or to ask any question or anything like that. So we are kind of a second class student at the time. But hey, that is a start.
Yeah, that is.
Yes. So I started very hard, and 3 months later, Chris, I got a job. My first job in the refugee camp, and I was so proud of it. And that job was called a stretcher boy. And because I was like 18 years old, and that a stretcher boy meaning that when the battle going on in Cambodia, some people get wounded or some people get shot to death, they transport the body or the wounded people to the hospital. It's called ICRC at the time. So I'm the one that carry either the wounded people in the hospital or the dead people and dump in the dumpster.
Oh wow!
That was my first job ever in refugee camp. But that job is actually the foundation of my English. It's where I meet the Caucasian. I develop my communication skill. I try to improve my English. And fortunately later on they have a free English lesson class that I can go to. And as soon as I found out, I quickly attend the class because it's free of charge and it's taught by the foreigner, the Caucasian woman at the time, and I was so thankful. And I studied the best that I can, and mainly grammar, Chris, in ESL. Yeah. So anyway, to make a story short, I got transferred from that camp to the second camp. And I keep continuing to learn, and I keep continuing to learn. I have people around me, whoever write the letter to the United States or to their relatives, or they have some money, send to them, and I didn't have anything. So every time I write something helping people, I get a little bit of money or food people give me. Mm-hmm. That's how I live through the refugee camp too.
Oh man.
So when I do that, 9 months later, I got transferred to Philippine camp. It's called PRPC in Morong Bataan. And that's when I started to be a teacher's aide. Mm. And when I start to be a teacher's aide, it's not by choice. I didn't want to be a teacher's aide. Because before I come to the United States, they asked me, they have an orientation class. They said, they do the assessment test of what class to put you, level 1, 2, and 3. So they keep asking me in English, where I'm from or who I stay with, or they test my English. And when I carry on the conversation, they said I need to be a teacher's aide because they need people that speak English. And I'm one of them, and there's no class for me.
Oh, that's good.
That's how I become to be a teacher's aide and a translator, Chris.
That's real good.
Yeah, so, when I came over here, my dream actually over. Because my initial dream was to get out the communists, get out the hunger, get out the persecution, get out the torture, get out the ignorance. But now I get over here, it expired. I said, oh my God, this is a great country. But right away, I thank the Lord. Just for me to be here in the United States of America. Mm. I do, I honestly do. I think this is one of the best countries that we can live in. The best country that are full of opportunity and freedom for art. But you have to really pay the price for it. You can't just be over here for doing nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so when I came here, I said, oh my God, voila, I'm in the United States, And and then what's next? Because now that I reached the freedom.
Yeah, now what you going to do with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's next was, I remember when I was in a refugee camp, I asked one of my co-worker, my friend, my mentor, her name was Maria. I said, Maria, when I go to America, what should I be doing? Mm-hmm. What do I need to do? She said 2 things. If you work and study hard, you will do well. And I thought, wow, this is great. So she is really my good mentor. And I really appreciate and remember her name till today, Chris.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, there's always people that kind of impact you directly or indirectly. So that's good that you can go back and kind of assess, where you got little strengths and pockets of inspiration along the way. That's good.
Yes. So I was thankful to, for her advice. So when I came here, it's funny, I have another friend who I really enjoy spending time with, and his name is Bill Petrovic. Mm-hmm. And he's Caucasian, he's white, and I thought that he knew a lot more than me. And so I asked him, I said, Chris, not Chris, Bill, what do I need to have to be an American? Because I want to follow American dream. Uh-huh. And here's what he told me. He said, very simple thing, it's only 2 things. I said, what is it? He said, first, you need to have a little bit of belly. And secondly, you need to take some sort of medication. So if you have belly and take medication, you are an American. Yeah, so that's good. I like that. So I remember that phrase, but that's just a joke. But going back, I keep thinking of what Maria told me. Mm-hmm. Study hard, work hard, and study hard, and I will do well. Mm-hmm. So the next thing is, I said, what can I be now that I'm here in a free country? I decided that in order for me to escape poverty, I have to be educated. Mm. And education is not easy for me. It's a very challenging, especially you don't speak good English, no educational background. But I said, you know what? Intelligence can be trained. That's what I told myself.
You can cultivate a mindset and certain tools and skills. Yes, that's true.
Yes, so I keep doing what I'm doing. I work full time. I keep studying part time. Every time I go to the party and with my friends or whoever I hang around with, at the time was mostly white people that I hang around with, and some blacks also. I'm not prejudiced and everything, but what I'm saying is, when I first came here, it's like 95% white, especially in Joliet. And my first week, I said, "Oh my God, which one is which? They all look the same." So, but that was real though. But anyway, to keep, so I keep study, and it's tough time. I run to my tough time and good time in America, but I'm not quitting. I'm keep going. I'm keep pushing. And so what the deal was, I said, you know what can I do? So I look into me, and I know that I want to be my attorney like my dad, but I can't. And the reason I can't do that because my English was not strong enough, and I didn't speak enough English. So I thought that, well, what am I good at? So I found out that I was good in science and math.
Science and math.
Yes.
Okay.
So I thought, so what should I take? And then I said, let me see, what do I fear the most? And I remember when I was young, I got shocked a few times, 220 volts. In Cambodia, yeah. So I got so scared of electricity. So I said, you know what? Let's do something that I really fear, and that is electrical engineering.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You went right towards your fear.
That's right. I said, you know what?
That's
Let's do it. And I did it. It took me about 10 years to finish it.
Okay.
But hey, it's
You finished.
I finished it.
That's what it's all about. Just
Yes,
keep
sir.
going. Huh?
Yes, sir. And it sure did. When I finished that engineering, it really pulled me out of poverty. It pulled me from my apartment, 2-bedroom with 10 people, to my present home today, which is a 3-bedroom, and now I make it to a 4-bedroom.
Oh wow.
And I like my home, and I stay there ever since.
Wow.
But anyway, I continue to work hard, like Mary told me. So I work hard everywhere I go because I honor my work. I have take pride in my work, and also I know that who I work for, they need me. So to do a good job, so they can pay me, they need to be in business too. So if they don't have any, if I don't produce any good result, I know they're gonna let me go. And so I keep doing whatever I do the best that I can, and also anything else, extra miles.
Yeah, you go the extra mile?
Yes, to get the job done complete on time.
Oh, that's good.
So I worked as an engineer for about 8 years, Chris, starting from the entry level to senior level. And I was proud of that. And but something else, stick in my mind that's kind of changed me. And that means if when in engineering, there's two things. Either you have a lot of project and people fight, it's called inside the politics, or you don't have any project, you fear of getting laid off and fired. So I make very good money at the time as a senior engineer, but in the back of my mind, every day I go to work, I have fear in me. I have worry in me. Worry that one day they're gonna let me go.
Yeah, they're gonna let you go. You're expendable. Yeah.
Yeah. What if I say what did I do? What if they lay me off? What if I get fired? What if my company move overseas? So I have the 3 what if in my mind all the time. But I'm keep doing the best that I can, Chris. So like one time I worked for a company called Maconi Communication close to the airport here, DFW. And I actually have saved the company about $11 million per quarter.
Oh wow!
Well, we designed the telephone, the payphone at the time. There's no cell phone in my when I was an engineer. We have a pager. That's all we have. If you remember the beeper.
Yeah, I know the beeper.
Yeah. So anyway, when I design and make money for the company, number one, I'm so happy. Number two, I want to wait for some sort of recognition.
Yeah.
Why? And Chris, you know what I got?
Huh.
My boss said, "Congratulations, Teng Tip." I said, "Thank you." But then what? Then nothing. It's the salary still the same.
You done saved them $11 million.
Per quarter, Chris, but I didn't get nothing. So I came home. I said, you know what? I worked so hard.
Yeah.
I work in my sleep as an engineer, okay?
Yeah.
Because I got to troubleshoot. I got to keep thinking about what can I do to make this and that circuitry better, this and that, the lab, whatever, make sure everything comply. I couldn't even sleep. Well, when I finished one project, they gave me 2 more projects. I said, you know what, that's fine, because that take me out of poverty, but what's good for me, I mean,
Yeah.
at least give me something.
Yeah.
Not just say congratulations and be quiet. So what I did was I quit that company.
Yeah.
I went to work for a company called Fishing Networks. I said, you know what, I gotta go, because you ain't gonna give me nothing. I worked so hard for it. And this company, they gave me like $5 more and signing bonus at the time. So I took the job, right? I took the job and I returned the pagers, and time was pager. So the secretary kept calling me. A week later, they called the new secretary at a different company 4 or 5 times. And I said, why do they keep calling me, bothering me? They said, why I didn't return the pager? I said, that's not true. I'm not calling the secretary back because I gave it to her. How can it be like that? So I called her back. I said, I forgot her name, but let's name her Melissa or something.
Melissa?
I said, Melissa, I turned in the pager already to you. Why are you keep calling me? And she said, that's not the point, Teng. I said, what is the point? The point is my boss wanted to know when am I coming back home. I said, what home? She said, the company. I said, no, I'm not coming back home because you didn't give me my boss forget to give me a raise when I did a great job. And I had to go. I had to take care of my family. So I work for a different company, and everywhere I go, I do my best, Chris.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yes. So when I do my best, I become feels good, and I like it. Life is good. I party, spend money here and there, But then, another turn. It's called September 11th, folks.
Yeah, September 11th. Yeah, we all know that.
Yeah, you all know the .com and the telecom busted. I'm one of them. And it's really beyond my control. I didn't want it to happen. I didn't want to tell them guys to hit them building.
Yeah, we'll
It's the
never
same thing.
forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unexpected. Like the communists came. My father was a lawyer. I didn't tell the communists to come here and to kick me out of the city. I didn't tell those guys to hit the building either.
No.
It's just something happened unexpectedly. Then what are you going to do? So, here's the turning point. When I got laid off, I had some little saving. Most of my money that I made in engineering, I got so smart at the time, and I invested the stock market with my director, my VP, whoever I think is my mentor. I thought was a really expert in financial industry because they my boss and they're smart, right?
Yeah.
But I tell you what, after September 11th, I lost most of it.
Oh, man.
And I'm telling you, Chris, it shook me again. I said, you know what? This is not good. I used to be needed. People call me every 3 or 4 months if I want to change the job. Now I put 200 resumes already and no one want me. So I said, oh my gosh, what if I go back to poverty?